slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Hey Tim, I got a great question today, and that is from a gentleman named Ryan, who asked, hey coach, for a half marathon, how long do you recommend the taper period should be? Additionally, when should my last long run take place? Great question, Ryan. I'm a big believer in a 10-day taper. I think that a lot of times if you start dropping your volume and your intensity too far out, it will make you feel more lethargic and tired rather than feeling rested. And so for a half marathon taper, really 10 days is plenty of time for you to fully recover from the several months of buildup. You know, those hard anaerobic workouts, the long months of doing long runs and track workouts and tempo runs and fartlek workouts. All of these combined really place a huge amount of burden on the physiology, on our physiology. So it's very important to not to start, keep your volume and your intensity high up until about 10 days from your goal race. For the half marathon in the last long run, the last hard long run, if it was me, I would be doing the last long hard run probably between 14 and 21 days out from your goal half marathon. Okay, and again, you do want to sprinkle in some long runs that are just at steady effort, not like running too anaerobic in your long runs. Always alternate it. This is how I've done over the years. Helped me run a 2:19 marathon, helped me run a 1:07:06 for the half marathon. I always would run a faster, varied paced long run where I would spend maybe for example, it might be like a 20 to 22 mile run with 3 5-mile reps sprinkled into that long run at goal marathon race pace, or like the first set at goal marathon race pace, the second set at 10 seconds faster than goal marathon race pace, and then the last set back at goal marathon race pace. So again, you're alternating the efforts, but you're not just running relaxed and easy every single weekend. You should alternate it. So if that, for example, that 21 miler where you have 3 5-mile reps sprinkled into it, the following week should be a long, relaxed, easy long run, so that again you're adapting to the hard training that you're doing. And a half marathon taper, you also got to think about the other factors that really go into running a fast half marathon. Running the tangents in the race, thinking about the things that your competition more than likely are not thinking about. Okay, if you're in the race and you see a right hand turn coming up and you see a big group on the far left side of the road, they're running more distance than you are. So always focus on running the least amount of distance in the race, on top of doing the other things that really matter to run a fast marathon or a fast half marathon. Obviously pacing and making sure that you're not expending too much energy too early in the race is absolutely vital. Most of the world's top distance times on the roads occur from athletes that run a negative split. They run that second half faster than they run the first half. And of course, you can still go out too aggressive and still hang on if you're fit and ready. Okay, when I ran 2:19, I went out the first half in 1:07:09, but I came back with a 1:12:26 for the second half. So I drastically slowed down in that second half, especially in the last 10 kilometers. I still remember that because I was at 5:11 mile pace through the 20 mile mark, but I ended up averaging 5:19 mile pace for the 26.2 miles because I was slowing. Because again, I went out kind of aggressive in that first half. In fact, I was 3 seconds slower through the half marathon point than my PR for the half marathon, which is 1:07:06. I went out in 1:07:09. So you can still PR, you can still set a new personal best in the half marathon, even if you do run a positive split. But you have to have that confidence that and trust your training, that what you've done the past 12 to 20 weeks, preferably that, I always recommend for a half marathon, minimum 16 weeks, preferably 20 weeks. If you're running a marathon, preferably 20 weeks, but 24 weeks is even better. A 5 to 6 month block of training is going to set you up for success the best if you're training, especially for the marathon, but even for a half. If you give yourself more time to fully adapt to the hard training you're doing, your chances of success in these longer races is going to be better versus if you did, say, you were trying to cram all of your training in an 8-week block of training or a 12-week block of training. Now, it's different if you run a half marathon and you just got done running an all-out half or a marathon. You take like a week off and then you start a 12-week block of training building into your next race. That's a little bit different because you still have a high amount of fitness. You're not going to lose much. You're hardly going to lose any fitness in a week off of training. But if you go back into, say, a 12-week block of training after you've spent several months leading into a goal half or a goal marathon, that's a little bit different than just starting from scratch and doing, say, an 8 to 12-week block of training. It's simply not enough time. Even some of the best coaches in the world have referenced that it takes about 28 days. In fact, Dr. Joe Vigil is an example of that. He's one of the world's top physiologists, exercise physiologist and coach. And he talks about that it takes 28 days for the body to adapt to any stress load being placed on it. So if you're training for a half marathon right now, and say you're having an issue holding, say, 4 miles at anaerobic threshold effort, okay, continue to do that workout every week. And 28 days down the road, you are going to be able to be much better suited to handle that 4-mile anaerobic threshold effort because, again, you stayed consistent and you allowed sufficient time for your body to adapt to that particular intensity. Once you've adapted to that, then you can increase the duration of your anaerobic threshold and run slightly faster. Okay, the goal is to eventually extend that duration that you're spending at your anaerobic threshold because, again, you want to improve the body's lactate tolerance. It's just you're not going to achieve that by running easy, relaxed jogging every day. Okay, now I say this all the time. I preach this. You have to learn to slow down on your recovery days. Okay, an example of this, I've had several long runs recently where I'm running anywhere from under 6-minute mile pace, like in the 5:30s to 5:40s, to low 6s. And then the following 2 to 3 days, I'm running at 8-minute mile pace. I have no problem slowing down on those recovery days because, again, when I run hard, I run hard. Okay, you can only push the body so hard anaerobically so often, and you have to, heart rate monitor training is a great option in terms of just making sure that you're staying in zone 1 to zone 2 and preferably zone 1 because, again, you have to slow down and recover. Okay, we all want to run fast, but you can't run fast every single day and expect to adapt to what you're throwing at yourself. You have to make sure you're paying attention to your nutrition, taking in enough fluid during your long runs, hydrating well in the race, taking in gels. That's a huge boost of glucose that goes straight to your bloodstream by taking those. Take between 4 to 5 gels in the race itself. You can place a couple in your shorts. You can, if you're wearing arm sleeves, you can place one inside of each one of your arm sleeves. That's what I plan on doing in my upcoming marathon as well. My long runs, I always have fluid electrolyte drinks on the course, my long run course, every 3 miles. And I focus on drinking rather than sipping. Okay, do not run a half marathon or a marathon by just sipping fluid. These are longer races that require much more nutrition and much more hydration. So, in terms of a half marathon taper, I believe in a 10-day taper. I still think a 3-week taper is still will work for a lot of athletes, but I've always set personal best using a 10-day taper, and the athletes that I coach and the training plans that I have on RunDreamAchieve.com, they have a 10-day taper built into them. And so again, in regards to your question, Ryan, last long hard run should be anywhere from 14 days to 21 days out. Again, you want to keep that volume high, you want to keep the intensity high up until 10 days out from your goal race. Again, you want to, those last 10 days should be mainly maintenance workouts, easy runs, strides, some shorter, intense track sessions, i.e. repeat 200s, repeat 600s on the track. But the repeat 1600s, repeat 3200s, distances, the longer duration intervals are not, I wouldn't recommend them on the last 10 days leading into your goal race. Okay, do some short, fast stuff just to remind your legs of what you're doing. 4 days out from your goal half marathon, I would do a three mile run at goal half marathon race pace, and that's it. 1 mile warm up, 1 mile cool down. So I hope this video is helpful for all of you looking for more information about what to do for a half marathon taper and when your last hard long run should be. If you have any other questions or concerns, leave me a comment below. I'll definitely reach back out to you. There are a lot of resources below my videos, as well as on RunDreamAchieve.com if you're looking to take your racing and training to the next level. And thank you so much for your support of this channel and of the Run Dream Achieve brand. And I will talk to you all in the next video.